All right, so we're doing the first 50. We do this before every satsang. We read the first 50 just to all come together in the same state, joining. So what we'll do right now is take a moment to settle in, get present. And if anyone feels to offer something up, I love to hear your prayers. If not, we can be silent. And if anyone feels to begin reading at any point, the offer is available. Invitation is presented. So I'll start. Nothing I see means anything. The reason this is so is that I see nothing, and nothing has no meaning. It is necessary that I recognize this, that I may learn to see. What I think I see now is taking the place of vision. I must let it go by realizing it has no meaning so that vision may take its place. I have given what I see all the meaning it has for me. I have judged everything I look upon, and it is this and only this I see. This is not vision. It is merely an illusion of reality because my judgments have been made quite apart from reality. I am willing to recognize the lack of validity in my judgments because I want to see. My judgments have hurt me, and I do not want to see according to them. I feel do one more. I do not understand anything I see? How could I understand what I see when I have judged it amiss? What I see is the projection of my own errors of thought. I do not understand what I see because it is not understandable. There is no sense in trying to understand it, but there is every reason to let it go and make room for what can be seen and understood and loved. I can exchange what I see now for this merely by being willing to do so. Is not this a better choice than the one I made before? Barry, would you like to read a few?
Sure.
Mm.
So these thoughts do not mean anything. The thoughts of which I'm aware do not mean anything because I'm trying to think without God. What I call my thoughts are not my real thoughts. My real thoughts are the thoughts I think with God. I'm not aware of them because I've made my thoughts take their place. I'm willing to recognize my thoughts do not mean anything and let them go. I choose to have them replaced by what they were intended to replace. My thoughts are meaningless, but all creation lies in the thoughts I think with God. And I'm never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think because I'm constantly trying to justify my thoughts. I'm constantly trying to make them true. I make all things my enemies so that my anger is justified and my attacks are warranted. I've not realized how much I've misused everything I see by assigning this role to it. And I've done this to defend a thought system that's hurt me and that I no longer want. I'm willing to let it go. I'm upset because I see what is not there. Reality is never frightening. It's impossible it could upset me. Reality brings only perfect peace. When I'm upset, it's always because I've replaced reality with illusions I made up. The illusions are upsetting because I've given them reality, thus regard reality as an illusion. The illusions are upsetting because I've given them reality, and thus regard reality as an illusion. Nothing in God's creation is affected in any way by this confusion of mine. I'm always upset by nothing.
Read a couple more.
I see only the past. As I look about, I condemn the world I look upon. I call this seeing. I hold the past against everyone and everything, making them my enemies. So I do. When I have forgiven myself, remembered who I am, I'll bless everyone and everything I see. There will be no past and therefore no enemies. I will look with love on all that I failed to see before. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. I see only my own thoughts. And my mind is preoccupied with the past. What then can I see as it is? Let me remember that I look on the past to prevent the present from dawning on my mind. Let me understand that I am trying to use time against God. Let me learn to get the past away and realizing that in so doing, I'm giving up nothing.
Do one more.
I see nothing as it is now.
Mm.
If I see nothing as it is now, it can truly be said that I see nothing. I can see only what is now.
Mm.
The choice is not whether to see the past or the present.
Mm.
The choice is merely whether to see or not. What I've chosen to see has cost me vision. Now I would choose again that I may see.
That's beautiful, brother. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Mm. I see you. I see you. I see you. Hi, pretty.
Hiya.
What's her name?
Say it.
Ruby.
You was giving me the eyes. I saw you. I saw you. You give it to me. I saw it. Don't think you got past me.
Ruby.
Did you say my name's
Hi,
Ruby?
Ruby. Ruby, nice to meet you. I'm Lotus Chick. I'm that Lotus chick.
Say hi, Lotus.
Nick.
Right on. Nice to meet you. We're gonna carry on, all right, Ruby? You good with that? Thank you. That's your YouTube channel, Gypsy Ruby Rose.
Do you want me to read?
Yeah. While you got your mic on, why not? Thank you.
I have a crown too.
Okay, yeah, let me read.
And I buy
I'll let Gemma read.
Okay. All right, Gemma. All right, Ruby, listen to Gemma. Read
Hey,
something.
Ruby. Mhm. My thoughts do not mean anything. I have no private thoughts. Yet it is only private thoughts of which I am aware. What can these thoughts mean? They do not exist, and so mean nothing. Yet my mind is part of creation and part of its creator. Would I not rather join the thinking of the universe than to obscure all that is really mine with my pitiful and meaningless private thoughts? My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Since the thoughts of which I am aware do not mean anything, the world that pictures them can have no meaning. What is producing this world is insane, and so is what it produces. Reality is not insane, and I have real thoughts as well as insane ones. I can therefore see a real world if I look to my real thoughts as my guide for seeing. I am upset because I see a meaningless world. Insane thoughts are upsetting. They produce a world in which there is no order anywhere. Only chaos rules a world that represents chaotic thinking, and chaos has no laws. I cannot live in peace in such a world. I am grateful that this world is not real, and that I need not see it all at all unless I choose to value it. And I do not choose to value what is totally insane and has no meaning. A meaningless world engenders fear. The totally insane engenders fear because it is completely undependable and offers no grounds for trust. Nothing in madness is dependable. It holds out no safety and no hope, but such a world is not real. I have given it the illusion of reality and have suffered from my belief in it. Now I choose to withdraw this belief and place my trust in reality. In choosing this, I will escape all the effects of the world of fear because I am acknowledging that it does not exist. Can I read this one?
I wish you would.
God did not create a meaningless world. How can a meaningless world exist if God did not create it? He is the source of all meaning, and everything that is real is in his mind. It is in my mind too, because he created it with me. Why should I continue to suffer from the effects of my own insane thoughts when the perfection of creation is my home? Let me remember the power of my decision. Let me remember the power of my decision and recognize where I really abide. Hi, Janine.
Oh, hey, Janine. Thank you, Gemma. That was gorgeous. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Y'all are reading these lessons today. Oh, Anna. We'll give Janine a second to come into the room. Good to see you. Ooh.
That's where we're reading.
"15. My thoughts are images that I have made."
Thank you.
My thoughts are images I have made. Whatever I see reflects my thoughts. It is my thoughts that tell me where I am and what I am. The fact that I see a world in which there is suffering and loss and death shows me that I am seeing only the representation of my insane thoughts. And I'm not allowing my real thoughts to cast their beneficent light on what I see. Yet God's way is sure. The images I have made cannot prevail against him, because it is not my will that they do so. My will is his, and I will place no other gods before him. I have no neutral thoughts. Neutral thoughts are impossible because all thoughts have power. They will either make a false world or lead me to the real one. But thoughts cannot be without effects. As the world I see arises from my thinking errors, so will the real world rise before my eyes as I let my errors be corrected. My thoughts cannot be neither true nor false. They must be one or the other. What I see shows me which they are. I see no neutral things. What I see witnesses to what I think. If I did not think, I would not exist, because life is thought. Let me look on the world I see as the representation of my own state of mind. I know that my state of mind can change. And so I also know the world I see can change as well.
Thank you, Anna. You want to read another one? Ruby's good with that. Ruby, you good with her reading another one? Right on. Thank you, Ruby.
Hi.
I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. Or did I just read that one? I'm going to read it again.
You didn't read that one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. If I have no private thoughts, I cannot see a private world. Even the mad idea of separation had to be shared before it could form the basis of the world I see. Yet that was a sharing of nothing. I can also call upon my real thoughts, which share everything with everyone. As my thoughts of separation call to the separation thoughts of others, So my real thoughts awaken the real thoughts in them. And the world my real thoughts show me will dawn on their sight as well as mine.
Beautiful. Thank you. Janine, you ready? Do a few?
Sure.
Thank you.
I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am alone in nothing. Everything I think or say or do teaches all the universe. A son of God cannot think or speak or act in vain. He cannot be alone in anything. It is therefore in my power to change every mind along with mine, for mine is the power of God. I am determined to see. Recognizing the shared nature of my thoughts, I am determined to see. I would look upon the witnesses that show me the thinking of the world has been changed. I would behold the proof that what has been done through me has enabled love to replace fear, laughter to replace tears, and abundance to replace loss. I would look upon the real world and let it teach me that my will and the will of God are one. Do you want me to read another one?
Yeah.
Okay. I am determined to see things differently. What I see now are but signs of disease, disaster, and death. This cannot be what God created for his beloved Son. The very fact that I see such things is proof that I do not understand God. Therefore, I also do not understand his Son. What I see tells me that I do not know who I am. I am determined to see the witnesses to the truth in me, rather than those which show me an illusion of myself.
Oh, you should read another one.
What I see is a form of vengeance. The world I see is hardly the representation of loving thoughts. It is a picture of attack on everything by everything. It is anything but a reflection of the love of God and the love of his Son. It is my own attack thoughts that give rise to this picture. My loving thoughts will save me from this perception of the world and give me the peace God intended me to have.
Good. Did you hear that when you were reading it?
I did.
Very good. Anna, who's that with you?
Ruby, little
Hey,
Ruby.
Ruby.
Hi.
Come over here.
Hi.
Hey, how old are you?
Good.
How old are you?
Really?
5,
You're 4.
4. I'm 4.
Awesome. Do you know the row, row, row your boat song?
Do you know that
You
song?
know it?
No.
You don't know it?
No.
You want to do it with me? You want to learn it with me?
You sing
Ready?
it?
We're all going to sing it together. Everyone, see everybody's face on this page. We're all going to sing it, and every night when your mother puts you to bed, she's going to sing it to you.
You
And you
ready?
you can sing it with her. You ready?
Yeah.
Row, row, row your
Row
boat
your boat
gently
gently
down the
down
stream. You know that one? You know that one?
Yeah.
You
Sing
do?
it.
Row,
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily,
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 Life is
life
but
is but a dream. You know that one? There's some other
row,
versions of it, but
row,
I won't sing those.
down the street. Row, down the street.
Merrily, 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 merrily. Do you know what merrily means?
No.
You don't?
No.
It's there. Look, that's what it means right there. See that smile on your face?
Yeah.
How's the biggest smile you can do? Show me your biggest smile. What's the biggest one you got? One that makes your cheeks go, ah, my cheeks are hurting. That's it. That's merrily. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to teach us? Like, do you have any words of wisdom? Anything you'd like to say?
Yeah.
Tell-
Row down the street. Row down the street.
That's great. We're rowing in the stream. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
Okay.
We need to be reminded of that every day, don't we, Anna?
We do.
All right. Well, we'll continue on with our lessons. How is everybody anyway? Hey, Gemma,
Hi, Dave.
you look like you've got like a thing going on there. What's that?
Thank
Avatar. Very cozy. Barry, Janine, Tina. Your
Good to see you, Dave.
hair's doing a thing. Aren't avatars funny? You can do anything with your avatar. Look, Ruby, I've got tattoos all over mine from a misspent youth. Well, not really a misspent youth, but pretty much all of my tattoos have a spiritual perspective to them. In fact, they all do. Except for my Star Wars one, and even, you know, you have to have one of those. Janine, what's going on? Your screen is cut in half. Are you on a phone?
iPad.
Oh, iPad. Oh, that's how I used to look to you guys when I used my iPad.
Exactly.
Right. No one. You guys used to complain all the time.
No, we never complained. You did.
Yeah, you did. You should use your PC, you said.
Oh
Yeah.
I did say that.
You did say that. I'm always right. So we're doing today lessons, workbook lessons. Have you told Barry and Gemma and Janine?
I have, and this is Janine that needs to do 235.
So it's your birthday today.
No, 235 is her birthday. Birthday lessons. Stay with me, brother.
What?
We did birthday lessons last week.
It's not even her birthday.
No, brother, but we're doing her birthday lesson, and she wanted to be here for it. Or yeah.
I thought it was her birthday, and we were going to let her do the lesson on.
Well, no, we're on lesson 290 or something in life.
Yeah, but I have no clue what the calendar day of the year is. I just took your word for it.
I know. My word was Janine's
time
birthday
and chronology
happening.
don't really.
No worries.
So 235. So these are going on the YouTube channel. These are going to be recorded and go. Are we recording now?
We are recording now.
Yep. These are going on the YouTube channel, and they're going to be up there for as long as YouTube exists, which with the fast pace of modern technology may not be all that long, actually. I was watching a thing where everybody can have a little thing put in behind their ear the other day where the wire goes up in your brain and connects you directly to the internet. So it's like, I don't know what upgrades to the avatar.
Yeah, watch Electric Dreams. Every episode is that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every episode is something right here.
I get the thing. So, so they're going to go on the YouTube channel now. Have you guys? Because this was given to me this morning. I had a freaking, what do you call it? It wasn't a nightmare, but it was a weird dream, that one of those ones that seem to have symbolic meaning. Like if you've ever seen the story of A Course in Miracles. I tried to post it up again this morning and the link wouldn't work. So I don't know whether it's been taken down or something wrong with the link. But in the story of A Course in Miracles, Helen is describing her pre-Jesus or pre-hearing the voice dreams, and how they seem to be very lucid and very prophetic and stuff like that. And so I've been having a few of those lately, and whilst I give everything I see all the meaning it has to me, and I don't really want to give it a meaning, the fact that there's correlation in my dreams between my own personal transition through the course and other things that have eventuated, I tend to take those sort of dreams a little bit more seriously. I look at them and I'm like, okay, there's something there. I'll just be aware of it and just let it sit there and be there. And then, you know, I won't give it any particular meaning unless something else to do with it shows up. So guidance can come through in any way, right? Through a dream, through a brother, through a burning bush, through whatever you want, you can get guidance. But I had I'll just tell you anyway, but I had a dream. I think it was a dream. All right. So do you remember the video I did about blue people? Do you remember that one? Mm-hmm. Okay. So the blue people, right? The idea, the Buddhist idea of the bardo, where you leave the physical vessel and the spirit goes to sort of like a netherworld, like an in-between place that they call the bardo in Buddhism. And there are sort of like several different states in bardo, depending on the amount of work that you've done on your personal journey on earth, like determines where you go next, right? So the idea that was presented to me was through these blue people who were about 7 or 8 feet tall and who appeared, like literally not in a dream, who appeared over my house one night in a craft, in a I don't even know what it was. I only saw lights. But
the picture.
Oh yeah,
I just turned my camera off, so it's the you see
you
picture?
can find the picture.
No, it's right here.
Anyway, in the accompanying information that I got with seeing the lights above my house, it occurred to me, I think in a dream, either that or I was somehow extracted from the physical reality and taken to their reality or a different reality. I really don't know how to talk about it. I don't want to say I was abducted by aliens, but that would be an easy way to describe it. But in that meeting between, let's say, Earth avatar and higher vibratory avatar from another kind of frequency or vibration of this, I was told that they'll come and get me when it's time. And so last night in my dream, I was there again, and I was shown a very small version of what they are as an avatar, a blue thing, at about the size of Ruby there, just like a child version. And I was told, this will be your new avatar. That was last night in my dream. And then it stopped. And one of the things that was the precursor to that dream was I was sitting yesterday, just after a little meditation when we finished doing our Zoom. And I couldn't meditate. I couldn't be still. Everything was just like something drawing on my mind. And so I just let it happen. And all these thoughts started coming through about blue people. And I wondered in my thinking, I sort of stepped back from it, and I wondered in my thinking, I wonder what their children look like. I wonder how that all happens, because they have no genitals, right? These beings have no genital, or at least not that I could see. And so I wondered about the procreation and everything and all that sort of thing. And so last night in my dream, I was just shown something. So, but anyway, again, it's like, it's another little thing along the way. Like it's another little thing along the way. And the thing that I like with when we're doing these lessons and putting them there for posterity on YouTube is if you go right back to those early lessons that I did on YouTube, you'll be able to follow along with my own personal transformation, and you'll see where I was at, like, I don't know how long ago, like 10 years ago or something when I started that channel. And you'll see the shifts in consciousness, and you'll see like juvenile Dave, or what would you call it? I don't know, ignorant Dave, or transforming Dave, coming up to now where there's a greater certainty or a greater thing, and you can follow the spiraling or the transition in that. And one of the things I always say to people is, when you start this course, keep a journal, keep a little diary, like day 1, lesson 1, this is how I feel, make a few simple notes. And for posterity, like for those who come after and everything else like that, it's an incredibly helpful and valuable archive, right? It's not just this book. It's a living testimony to the transition and the process of transformation that you've gone through, which would be incredibly helpful to anyone who's attempting to do the same thing, right? It's kind of like a, pardon me, it's kind of like a selfless act in one way, but then in another way, it's higher self-concerned, you know, like there's this whole knowledge base or information base of not only the advances, but also the failures to advance. You can see it. I see in some of my videos, you know, like I watch some of those early ones, not very often, but watch some of those early ones. And I think, wow, how did I get from there to here? Why did it take so long? You know, all these things I'm thinking I should have asked for a miracle there. But the old man, like Dear One, the original Dear One, used to say, if you use me as part of your concerted effort to overcome, I assure you that I will have been of inestimable value. Which is why so many people, when they start a spiritual path or a spiritual determination, become enamored with specific teachings of other teachers who've attained enlightenment or who have gone down that rabbit hole and kept a journal or a diary, or somebody, maybe one of their students or whatever, has kept that thing. And it's incredibly helpful. Imagine if nobody, no prophet, no teacher, no one ever kept any kind of note of their own progress or their own thing. It's like we'd be sitting here with a much lesser degree of capability to form a reflective point of self-association with what we're trying to do. Does that make sense? It's like all of these people that go before. It's like I remember reading a little bit, I never read the whole book, Absence from Felicity by Marianne Williamson, and something I read by the Dalai Lama, and of course the fictional works of Richard Bach, who I love, and all these other authors that you read, right? And they're expressing their own perspective on space and time and their process in their book. Whether it's fictional or not doesn't matter. Like the heart relates to it, the mind knows it, and everything else like that. So these lessons and everything that we're doing today are going to go into the archive of my own personal transformation and become useful as a tool, as an assistance, or as an accompaniment to your own, right? Just as yours are for mine, like everything's singular. So I would encourage you guys to do that, to keep some kind of a log or a journal, if not for your own what do you call it when you try to reinforce? Yeah, if not for your own, the reinforcement of your own learning, because what you write down and what you think, it's like that comes from your mind. You're hearing yourself write it. You're hearing yourself say it on video. All of these things are helpful, right? It's doubly reinforcing what it is you're hearing today and learning about when you read the lessons and all these sorts of things. It's just like doing homework or doing, when you cram for an exam, which is more apt than you can probably imagine at the moment. So in your own journey, in your own transformation, you're going to have these markers, these points, these out of time references, right, which will bring about a shift. And I've just been through one of the most baffling shifts that I've ever had with the course, which has lasted the longest, as far as terms of confusion and disorientation go. And every time you have a shift, there's going to be confusion and disorientation and the whole thing, but usually only lasts for about 3 days. This one's been about almost a month, 3 weeks, nearly a month. So these shifts, these markers that come along, like Jesus talks about it in the courses, there are specific contacts, specific people that you'll meet, specific things that will happen that have been arranged for you before time began, as part of your own script, as part of your own story. And these are going to be those moments out of time. They'll appear as sort of like out of time or out of sequence time intervals. And often you reflect on these, in retrospect, and you'll look back and you'll say, that was weird today, that meeting with this person, or that was different, that meeting with that person. And, it can look like anything. A child could say something to you at the supermarket, or, you might hear something in a Satsang lesson, or who knows what it is, but there'll be a little key that'll go click, and you'll know it. It'll be like, that was weird. In the moment where you recognize these out of sequence time intervals or out of sequence interactions, and you'll become more tuned into them because they happen all the time, right? In the moment where you recognize one, be still. Be still. And if you need to, ask within, show me what that was about, Father. What happened there? What's going on there? What should I do? And really, they're both a reminder, right? A reminder of purpose, and they're also an opportunity. Some of them are quite profound. Some of them just seem to be, did I even hear that? Or did I, it's like you almost can't grasp it, but the information that you get, and I had it appear in a sphere once, in an orb, but the information that you get out of those moments, it's as if a little portal or a little door opened in time for a second, and something out of time popped in and presented itself, right? The presentation of whatever it is an illusion. It's not true. It's just as false as everything else. But what it contains is literally code. Right? Genetic, cellular, atomic, whatever you want to call it. I'm not good at getting into the quantum of things, but it contains literally code for the mind. And that code tends to open other doors, like in your thinking, and bring you to new kind of parallels with the course that perhaps you hadn't been aware of before. Like it's like you get leveled up. You ever play games with your Xbox and things? Any of you guys do that? No, you're all too old. Shame. But there's level ups. There's these kind of shifts, these progressive shifts that take you from one point of consciousness to becoming more revelation ready, to becoming more open to greater information and greater technology as you go. There's no point staying on lesson 1 forever, right? The whole point of this course is to achieve the goal of the course and to be able to be useful to the atonement in having achieved it. Like Jesus says, there's Brother Dean. You made it. So Jesus says, you know, like the miracles are all right, but purification is necessary first. So we're going through the process of purification using the workbook, but you don't want to be in that process forever, right? The last thing you want to do is to be in the process of purification forever. At some point, you've got to take Jesus at his word when he says, now there are no more lessons. You have no further need of them, right? And you just trust that what you've learned and what you've gone through with the course and in relationship with Jesus and all your other teachers has brought you to a place where you are representing what the course is attempting to get you to embody within yourself, which is that love, that self-love, that self-trust, that place in your mind where you remember something about yourself that is wholly out of sequence with the world, because the world will always deny you. The world doesn't want to hear this message. And as a messenger of the message, as a representative of it, don't expect to be welcomed, right? Don't expect everybody to pave the streets with palm fronds and things like that. It's not going to happen. There'll be 1 or 2 people here or there, and perhaps maybe even in your whole life, who are going to hear this from you. But those 1 or 2, or maybe if you're sitting on a podium somewhere in India, 1,000 or 10,000, those people, 2 in 10,000, and Dean and I were talking briefly about this yesterday, they're going to provide that catalytic opening, that out of sequence time interval, or out of time sequence interval, whatever it is. They're going to be part of that, right? Everyone you meet, everyone you talk to, everything you read, every effort you make is an adjustment in your own personal direction to self-discovery, right? So we're walking this way and Father is calling and saying, turn around, repent, right? Which is what repent means, turn around. We're walking away from the light, and all of a sudden we get this call, this feeling, or perhaps a verbal direction, turn around or come home or whatever it is, and we turn around. But because the mind is so insistent upon its human and earthly journey, its listening or ability or availability of listening to in a direction seems to be intermittent at best, at first. And so it takes these moments again and again and again of being reminded of purpose. Here I am, Father. Here I am, Father. Here I am, Father. Right? All of these moments. In that, when you get one of those out of sequence time intervals happen, right? So, and you can do this today as a bit of an experiment, right? So today, I guess it's nighttime for some of you guys over there, so maybe tomorrow, but do something, right? Out of sequence with your normal routine, out of sequence with your comfort zones, out of sequence with what's familiar, right? So it's like with Tina last week, I said to her, go and sit on the stoop out front of your building where all the familiar people that you know in your street or in your neighborhood are going to walk past and say good day or whatever like that, and then don't react to any of them, right? What you're doing is creating a rift. You're creating a tear in the space-time fabric of your own usual repetitive association, and you're not going to fill that in. You're going to let something else happen, right? You're not participating in time and space. You're simply presenting yourself, turning up as the Christ, and refusing to react at all to the figures in your dream, right? And you're going to let something else happen other than your own interference or your own interaction with what seems to be going on, right? This whole course is a great experiment, right? If you've got the FIP book in the beginning, it says, welcome to a great experiment, right? Sri Aurobindo, the great Indian mystic, Sri Aurobindo used to tell his students, you have to make bold experiments with your spirituality. You have to step right outside of your comfort zone and represent yourself to people who don't know you. They would go out into towns like Jesus would send his disciples, and they'd be confronted. People wouldn't want them. They'd chase them out of town and the whole, things like that. And in some places they'd be welcomed in, where I think they were Shivites, but where Shivites were actually welcomed. But in other places they were seen as disruptors and tormentors of the usual happy, peaceful thing. But I am Shiva, come as destroyer of worlds, So those who represent that, which is us, Jesus is the same. He wasn't a Shivite, but you can imagine. But we're looking at an idea of totally transforming the way the world is perceived, right, to a whole new thing. That doesn't happen unless you actually stand up. That doesn't happen in your mind, in your conscious association, in your thing, unless you actually stand up and declare yourself, right? Which is why a lot of these lessons are declarative. There's I am your son again, right? You're making a declaration firstly to yourself, and then somehow, right, whether verbally or through dance or poetry or art or anything, somehow you're going to declare that to your world, because you're teaching all the time. You have no choice but to teach. The only choice that you have is what you want to teach on the basis of what you want to learn, right? And as you teach, you will learn. And you'll get the reflection back to you. I'm the Christ. And everyone will be like, don't be ridiculous, right? But those reflections will come back dependent upon the determination and the association that I have with being the Christ in my own mind. If I'm just new to this and I've just picked up this book and I'm declaring that, then the overwhelming majority of my reflection out there is going to deny me. But as you go through your own progress and you heal more and more of the falsity and more of the shadow in your own mind, you'll find that things become automatically more conducive to your presentation of yourself in the world. You still may get the rolling eyeballs, and you still may get the, oh my God, you're an idiot, and all these sorts of things, like you're just Dave, or you're just Tina, or you're just whatever, you're our little girl, or you're our little boy, what's all this stuff you're talking about? You'll get all of that, but it won't bother you. It's like when Jesus went home and all his friends, he's like, no, you're just the carpenter. You're not the Christ. Like, that's blasphemy. We'll nail you to a cross if you keep saying that. Don't expect any better treatment. But you have to, luckily, I think crucifixion is outlawed in most countries now, but you have to declare yourself at some point. And when you do so, it's going to create a rift, right? There's going to be this moment where all of a sudden the usual expected vibratory frequency of the time-space association that you are in personally is going to be disrupted, right? Don't try to fix it or make it better. Don't defend yourself. Just let it be what it is, all right? You're putting out a vibration out into the world, out into the illusion, into the Maya, that's declaring truth in the face of what seems to be trying to convince you that is true, right? Which Jesus is telling us is false. You're representing your truth. My truth is eternal. It doesn't die, right? You're representing that in a place that's trying to convince you that everything here is destined to die. Right? When you do that, it's going to create a rift. There's going to be this opening, this portal, this thing develop. Don't adjust. Don't try to fix it. When people look at you and roll their eyeballs and whatever, don't defend yourself, right? A child of God needs no defense. You are eternally innocent. You're here with a higher purpose, and your higher purpose is to collapse time, or to help me and Jesus and everyone, all our brothers doing this, to collapse time. And you'll see that happen in your own association when these rifts occur with these out of sequence time intervals and you don't fill it in. You leave the slate blank, and like Tina sitting on the stoop, it's going to create in you a certain amount of anxiety, right? It's going to bring you to a point, you'll have your next door neighbor who you've known for 30 years, and every day you talk about stuff and whatever, and all of a sudden you're not going to respond to them. Imagine that situation. Just try to like put yourself there visually and mentally. Hi, Tina, how you going? And you say nothing. As if they're not even there, because they're not there, right? As if they're not even there. You say nothing. Now, what's that going to do in that situation? In you, that's going to create this anxiety. It's like, oh my God, this is John, whatever, I've known him forever, and our kids grew up together, and you've got this whole story, right? You've got a whole association with your next door neighbor that is taking up a compartment in your mind of attachment to the world, and you're breaking it, right? You're choosing to completely allow the miracle to occur in that situation. I'm not going to respond to this figure in my dream at all. I'm going to let something miraculous occur here other than me, you know, and it'll bring up that anxiety in you. That anxiety isn't about the situation you find yourself in with your neighbor. It's separation anxiety from God. All anxiety is separation anxiety, right? The neighbor is the catalyst for showing you that the belief in separation through that anxiety still exists in you somewhere, hidden in your mind, becoming manifest through your emotional state. Right? You're pushing the limits. That's what that's doing, if you want to call it that. You're pushing the limit in your own association, and you're tearing time and space. You're putting a tear in time and space. You're saying, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not playing this time, space. Hi, how are you going? How's the weather? I'm not doing that. I'm just, boom. I'm here to represent the Christ. And you're allowing that rift in time and space to open as wide as possible. And those that are closest to you are going to give you the greatest opportunity. Now, you don't have to do it that way. You can find your own way through the time-space parameters if you want. But just as an example, that's a pretty good way to go. But you've got to be prepared for the confrontation, right? You've got to make sure that you're doing it with the Holy Spirit, that the Holy Spirit is with you, and that moment is actually given, right? Otherwise, all that's going to happen is your ego is going to corrupt that idea of I'm not going to respond to the figures in my dream, turn it into some kind of religious practice, and you're just going to make it into some ritualistic thing that won't serve its actual purpose, because the happening of these things is in the moment. You can't say, oh yeah, I'm going to do that with everybody I meet. Right? You do it when it's given you to do. Right? The only reason I told you to sit outside on your step and do it with everybody was just to provide a demonstration to you how that's going to feel, right? So, but you'd have these moments, they come along, and in the moment where you carry your purpose as an awareness within yourself in the interaction, you can be aware of when it is that you're not going to defend yourself or not going to buy into the illusion. Right? Obviously, if you're having a conversation with somebody and it starts to go very judgmental, people love to talk about other people, right? You can make a decision, no, I'm not going to do that. You can make that decision quietly in your mind, and you can refuse to join in that, right? That will create the rift, right? That's a given moment. You're being presented that opportunity, right? So, as an experiment, you can take that on board and try it out for yourselves, and you know, you'll find that it's always helpful. It's never not helpful. everything is a gift. There is a gift in absolutely everything for you if you know how to open it, right? If you know how to unwrap it. So, but these lessons and what we're doing today are going to be witness and testimony to a portion of my own personal transformation through the course and through my mind awakening, just as they are for yours. Right, like today, later on today, Brother Dean and I are going to, what is it, Dean? What are we, some music thing?
It's a community garden, and there's a lot of people there that represent mental health issues.
Right. So we're going to go there, and no doubt the opportunities will show up not to buy into that story of mental health issues, right? So that we can come to see our brothers as whole and perfect beyond the idea of whatever their mental health facade is presenting. And these ones are actually often more confronting than just regular people, because there's an obvious parity between each other. You know, there's this obvious thing, and it's becomes a little more difficult to put your finger on your nose. But it's like, what I see as above, so below. There is no separation. It doesn't matter if it was a talking freaking elephant, right? It wouldn't matter if you were having a conversation with a talking elephant. You're still not separate. Whether it's someone who seems to be mentally, whatever it was Dean said, mentally challenged or whatever, special people, I think we call them nowadays. Is that the right thing? Special people at a community garden event, or whether it's we're talking to somebody who seems to be quite philosophical or aware of themselves, it's still an illusion. All right. Everything is still a dream. It's still false. It's still not reality. Reality is eternal, right? That's the litmus test for reality. It's eternal. Everything in the dream is the dream, me included. The only difference with me included is I'm telling you it's a dream. Everything else is going to speak for its reality. And I'm here by the grace of God, I guess, having once believed in the reality of the dream in its entirety, and having had an experience that the world is not true. It doesn't exist. It's a fabrication. So anyway, let's get on with these lessons. So where's Janine? Janine, it's your birthday today. Happy birthday.
It's not her birthday today. Is it?
If I say it is, it is.
Okay. But we're going to stop the recording and start when we're going to do this.
Oh, that's right. We're going to do this. Let's not do the like, subscribe, and ding the bell. I don't think we really need that. We'll just stop the recording. Stop the recording. Cut.
All right.
So what lesson was yours, Janine?
Okay, we're going to stop the recording first.
Yep.